Hey guys, it's Rush. BattleOfGlory.com lets you earn real-life money with their World of Tanks tournaments. If you'd like the chance to earn prizes upwards of €250 by playing World of Tanks, sign up with the referral link down in the description. Alrighty, so for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the M48 Patton. This thing, it just got buffed, and before the buff, I thought it was one of the best tier 10s in the game, and then Wargaming went and buffed it. So currently, I think it's one of the easily top two mediums in the game for potential, carry potential, and fun. Personally, I think it's right up there with the 62A, but it's like, this has got to be one of the best tier 10 mediums in the game, and there's my opinion of it. So I'll go over my setup, what it's like, etc., and then we'll go look at a replay and see how this thing actually performs. So what you get when you get this vehicle is the typical NATO gun. You've got 390 alpha, 268 pen, but really when compared to the other tier 10 mediums, it's like they all have decent pen. You can generally pen the weak spots of tier 10 heavies with between 260 and 270 pen. So as far as I'm concerned, it's pedantic comparing tier 10 medium penetrations, but people will do that. You can see it's got 0.32 accuracy with my setup, 3500 DPM with my setup. So I run Cola, Rammer, Vents, and BIA, and that all increases your DPM, and so it's up to 3542. That's going to be the max potential for DPM you can have on this vehicle, but such as World of Tanks, it's like that's still pretty good. As far as armor goes, I mean, the way this works is very similar to any other medium tank. You cannot really rely on the turret to take hits from like Jagdpanzer or E100s. However, the way you use the armor is to force people to aim at you. So you've got this massive cupola, of course, but you don't want to just sit in front of someone. You've got this great gun handling that you can use. So what you do is you drive up, maybe out of a corner or something, you use the gun handling, and then if someone snapshots at you, they're snapshotting, so they're not actually going to hit your weak spots reliably. And so you use the armor to force people to aim. You take quick shots because the gun handling lets you do that. And that's how you use this armor. That's when the armor becomes reliable, because if you're not moving, they're just going to hit your commander's hatch, no problem. That's my experience with this thing. As far as mobility goes, I mean, it's not extremely mobile, but it is a medium tank, so it does get around relatively quickly. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all medium tanks have really great mobility, so comparing it to other mediums isn't really that worth it. The camo isn't that great. You see I've got 15% camo, but I've only got two crew members with that skill at 94%. And for view range, you've got 485 meters view range with my setup. So that's just phenomenal, but I don't really know how useful it. Personally, I don't think it's useful really, but you can see I haven't changed the setup. I've run it this way for 160 games, and I haven't decided to change it, so take that for what it's worth. As far as crew skill goes, you can see I've got BIA all the way down, 6 cents on the commander, repairs, and safe stowage, and then for the commander again, I've got view range, camo, and view range. And then for my force skills, you can see I've started to put repairs on the commander. For the gunner, what I'll do is like snapshot or something, and then for the driver, it's smooth ride. And then for the loader, I'm going to put repairs and then camo, and that's, I mean, the gist of this thing set up all the way up to 4 skills for most of the crew members. It's really easy. I mean, crew skills don't really matter unless you get it wrong. So as long as you have the basic crew skills, you're pretty much set. As far as equipment goes, you can see I've got the typical tier 10 medium equipment. You always want Vents, Rammer, and V-Stab on your tier 10 mediums. You can see that's what I have. And then I've got 30, 25, and 2 for ammo, as well with a large first aid kit, large repair kit, and cola. Now, I would not suggest, if you're an average to, I don't know, blue player, like, don't run cola. It makes absolutely no sense. The average player is not going to get much benefit from it. You can see it really, like, the average player will not benefit from a 0.3 second faster reload. It really doesn't matter. It's like, okay, you have less than 200 DPM less. Like, who cares? So if you're a high-end player and you're looking to min-max, go for cola for sure, but this thing definitely performs well without it. You can just run an auto fire extinguisher something and definitely make it work. So that's pretty much it. Let's go take a look at a replay and see how this thing performs. Alrighty, so for this game, we're on the map Highway. It's a standard battle, and this is an all tier 10 game, so I thought I'd show what this thing can do when it's effectively bottom tier. But what you're going to notice is that we're on Highway, which is a horrible, horrible map according to most people, and I don't really understand why. But the gist of this map is that mediums will play at A2 and sometimes C2 if they're good. Bad players will camp at B6, and so will TDs, which you could make the point that they're one and the same. And then good, generally like average to better TD players will sit at E9, and then you'll find that heavies and armored vehicles will go to K0. So Their team is a bit ambiguous. Obviously, they've got the dedicated mediums, but they also have TDs that could suffice as heavy tanks. So the Jagdpanzer E100s and the E4s you can expect to sometimes go to the city, but what you're going to notice is I've decided to play the field, so I'm going to have to assume they have at least one Jagdpanzer E100 and maybe the E4 in their base. So that's going to have to dictate how you play this map. You need to look at the enemy team lineup and who's likely to be where. So what you can see me doing is we're playing this. I'm mostly hull down now. I haven't had to use my turret armor. No one's shot at me yet, so it hasn't really been that big of a deal. You can see I'm just going to be playing D1. Now, this is a very good ridge. Some people will make the point that you should be using your tank's gun depression or turret armor or whatever. It doesn't really matter. This position works, and I would suggest you play this position regardless of your vehicle. However, the Patton is extremely overpowered, and it can definitely take advantage of it. So you can see that's what we're going to be doing. We're not using any Patton-specific strengths other than the fact that it can left-click and shoot people. So what you're going to notice is I'm going to take a bit of a risky play. This is a poke that you wouldn't be able to do with like a Russian medium. You can see I missed the TVP, I believe, but the Leopard 1 puts a shot into me. And then I turn my turret to the right because I don't want any TDs hitting my turret and penning me. And then the Leopard 1 pokes and, you know, you can see we haven't been using our turret armor here. It's been mostly the gun handling and the, you know, the fact that the gun can shoot. So we're going to change our position, and this is going to be interesting because this map is, it's very risky to push because of the way that the campers sit at B6 and A6. So I'm going to push up to here, and the goal is just to pressure them. What I'm seeing right now, based on basic counting skills, is that we're likely to win the city, and I want to push through into their base to start farming who I consider to be their campers. To try to get as much damage as I can before this game turns into a raffle stomp. Now I'm wrong here, and you're going to see we're actually going to lose the city, but that's the perspective that I'm coming from at this point in time. So what you're going to notice is that the STRV is pushing into the middle. Now, while I'm playing this, I'm sort of unsure because if you look at the city right now, it's like, okay, well, we have 3 and they have 4. So I'm not sure about what's going to happen in the city. I notice we've got an STRV at D6, and so I'm not super sure about pushing into A2 because I don't want to throw all my HP away and then throw the game. Meanwhile, the STRV is being sort of aggressive and he spots not an AFK, but a sniping Object 140 in their base. He's also going to spot a 50B, which is like, why is a 50B sniping? And then we're going to kill those 2. And so that's really, really important because there's this rule of thumb that I try to teach to the people I mentor, and it's like, there's always at least one idiot camping in base, and there's a 50B sniping in base in his heavy tank. Anyway, it boggles the mind, but there you go. He gets lit, he dies, the 140's out of there, and what you need to be aware of is what your teammates are able to spot. So the STRV was able to spot up to maybe about the C line, but he's not going to be spotting like B6 and A6. So you're going to see I'm going to push into the people at A2. I want my teammates to start getting going because I want to push into the enemy's base, but there is actually a TD at A6. You can see he just shot at me. So when you're playing like this, you have to be aware of what your teammates can and cannot spot. People often rely on scouts too much, but it's like, you know, they're people too. They're not perfect. So the STRV was unable to spot the Jagdpanzer, and that's really, really important because if I had been more aggressive here, probably would have taken a hit from a Jagdpanzer 100. So the way this game is progressing is very, very interesting. We are going to win the northern side of the map, per se, and they're going to win the southern side. And this is something you have to understand, is when you win a side and the enemy wins a side, it's very often it's going to be a close game. So you're going to see we're going to kill the 140, and then from here, we're just going to try to take advantage of the situation as it progresses. A lot of the times, once the enemy has won the city, they'll just rush down the K line, and you have a tremendous opportunity to farm them as they cross what is effectively an open field. The best location for us to use to try to get shots on people as they probably rush back to base to defend and push into ours is generally going to be about E4, E3 area. What that's going to allow you to do is it lets you get shots on people who, like I said, go back to base and push into yours. And so that's the location I'm going to go to. Now you're going to notice there's a mouse who decides to cross the open field. That's 3,000 HP right off their team that we're actually going to be able to get to. So when you're playing the Patton, you want to take advantage of the DPM of this vehicle. You need to keep yourself in the fight, because if you're not fighting people, how can you possibly, you know, use the 3,500 DPM that this tank is given? So right here, there's the mouse in front of us. We're going to be able to put shots into him, but the team finishes him off, which is absolutely fantastic. And then we're going to have to deal with their full HP Jagdpanzer 100 and the rest of their vehicles, which are pretty much half to full HP, which is pretty... that's a lot of hit points right there for someone who's on 1000 HP to deal with. Now, right here, you're going to notice the IS-7's pushing into me, so what I have to worry about is getting lit. This thing has such a big profile that if it gets spotted, it will get snapshotted. So the objective here is to simply look for shots on people, but safely. So I'm running away. We're now that we're out of spotting distance, and I don't think there's... The IS-7 has cover between us, so I don't think we're going to get lit. I'm going to be able to put shots into these people. Really, the risk is minimal. And we're just going to keep putting shots into them as we fall back, because I really have no idea what this IS-7 is going to do. He might cap, he might get on, chase after me. We have no idea right here. So we're just preparing ourselves to deal with this guy. You can see the IS-7's pushed into me, and this puts us in this really, really weird situation where for us to deal with the Jagdpanzer 100, it's effectively a crossfire, right? The IS-7 can shoot at me, and if I go to shoot at the IS-7, I'll get hit by the Jagdpanzer 100s who are on the J line. What's going to happen right here is the IS-7's going to get on cap. That's going to make things interesting, because if you look at the 0 line, we're not on cap. So effectively, I need to reset, and you're going to notice I'm going to drive up this slope right here. This is kind of risky given the circumstances. However, I wasn't lit, and the IS-7 shoots back at me. So I could be wrong. I could have been lit right there, but I don't think I was. I think the IS-7 just took a snapshot at me or something. We got to reset, and currently the capped circles are such that if we let them extend, like if we just let each team cap out, it would be a draw. So what I need to do is I need to go get a reset. You can see we've got a Patton on cap. Now that guy's going to sort of screw up, but obviously we're trying to play our own game right here. We're not going to actually cap out this game. From this perspective, though, I do need to get a reset if we want to win by capping, and so that's what I'm going to try to do from here. Now, right now you can see I'm looking for the IS-7. This thing has such a big profile that you need to be very, very careful. You can see the IS-7's right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to side scrape right here because mediums can actually side scrape. You can see the arty stuns him and gets the reset. And then I think the IS-7 shoots right there, so I'm just going to drive in front of him, and the grill gets the kill. Now this puts us in an interesting sort of position because you can see the E4 is about to kill the M48 Patton, and then once the Patton dies, what can you do? Because they have control over the entire northern side of the map. Effectively, their map control is like 80% or 70% right here. It's very, very high. For me to play the northern field when they have an E4 in their base is basically suicide. Meanwhile, they've got like 3,000 to 4,000 HP of Jagdpanzer U100s driving into our base, and so I sort of have to prepare for that. You can see I drive up and try to spot these guys. The Jagdpanzer gets lit. Now, I was worried that he had actually spotted me, so you can see I'm playing a bit differently, but one thing that's very, very interesting, and you can take advantage of this while you're trying to carry, is that people love to flank. So we know they've got an E4 in the north. We've got an E4 in their base, and he's sort of been driving up and down the 0 line. So he has been driving, but even if he had been camping, I would expect that E4 and maybe even the IS-7 to just try to flank us through the north. For whatever reason, I just know people like to do that. So in my mind, I'm backing off of it because I don't want to be in a crossfire, and if the E4 crosses an open field, I want to take advantage of it. And you can see the E4 is right there. Now right here, I want to point out how big the aimer is here. It's like 2 times larger than his tank. So you're going to notice I'm going to get extremely lucky, and I want to call this luck on purpose. I don't want you to mistake it as great accuracy of the M48 Patton. This is luck. The shell could land anywhere in the circle there, but you can see I managed to hit his lower plate twice. You could not replicate those shots even with the Leopard 1 because the shot can go anywhere in the aiming circle, which is a bit unfortunate in the current state of the game. So what we're going to do from here is we don't have to worry about the Jagdpanzer 100 flanking us. Same thing with the IS-7. You'll notice the grill is in the middle, so that's actually securing our northern flank. So I can deal with this Jagdpanzer 100s and whatnot who are directly in front of us. Meanwhile, the IS-7 seems to have, driven right in front of us, so we're just going to have to deal with him. And the problem is the Jagdpanzer 100, the third guy who isn't on cap, he could be sniping from the J line. So this is a very difficult position to be in. You can see I aimed for the upper front plate of the IS-7 and managed to hit his turret. That is accuracy of this thing. It's just 0.32 isn't reliable in this game, which is unfortunate. Right here, we're going to rely on this thing's turret armor. I'm just hoping he'll shoot and bounce, and he's actually going to do that. So once he shoots, I want to take advantage of my DPM because that's what the Patton has. And you're going to notice I'm just going to put heat through his lower plate right here because sort of need to. We've only got a minute left. We need to kill this guy. And then once he dies, hopefully the Jagdpanzer, the third Jagdpanzer 100, who could be on the J line, is doing nothing. And we can isolate the guy who's on cab. So that's the plan right here. Now what you can see me doing is I'm spending my hit points, and that's really important. When you're dealing with people who have huge alpha, it doesn't matter if you're on 100 HP or 1000. They're gonna kill you, regardless. So I have HP that I can spend right here, and I do that, and that's actually really important because it lets us kill the IS-7 at minimal expense to our team. I mean, I'm still one-shots to both their teammates, so there's that. Now what you're gonna notice is we're looking for shots in this Jagdpanzer. We do have time to reset. The grill gets the reset, and then Artie almost gets me killed right here. You can see you have to be aware of what cover your teammates destroy. Now I don't know what this Jagdpanzer's reload is, but let's pretend the Jagdpanzer hadn't shot. I could have died right there if he was paying attention. So you need to watch watch if you're using destructible cover. Just make sure your teammates aren't destroying it. Right here I'm going to circle the Jag, but I notice another one exists. The guy in front of me shoots. We're going to go for the permatrack. This is obviously why you want to be shooting APCR. Heat would be unable to do this, but you can see with 268 APCR pen, it's relatively easy just to keep this guy in place and finish him off. Now, once this guy is dead, it's going to put us in this very interesting position where I'm a one-shot and there's an E5 who's a one-shot. Now, the risk is that the Jagdpanzer rushes into us and just snapshots one of us and then tries, he might be able to win a 1v1 against an E5 or something. So you're going to notice that there's going to be a fence that breaks right in front of me. I think it actually just happened. And that tells me the Jagdpanzer 100 is directly in front of me, and that's really, really important. You can see I'm sort of preparing him for him to YOLO me. I want to try to proxy spot him if he gets close, and he doesn't. So the E5 pokes on him. I'm going to poke on him, and this isn't the superior armor of the M48 Patton or something. It was just the timing. He ended up tracking me because I pulled back just in time, and he's about to die right here. So that's a 9,239 damage game. Let's go take a look at the end plates. Alrighty, so as you can see, that was a master badge, 110k credits, 3000 XP, discounting the double, of course, high caliber, Confederate, and Defender, typical carry rewards. You can see 9,200 damage, 3 kills, 1345 base, etc, etc. And like most carries, you're going to lose credits when you carry a game, and for whatever reason, you'd think you would earn like significantly more, but I spent 109,000 on ammo. That could explain it. So let's go take a look at this vehicle in the garage, and I'll talk about whether or not I think you should get it. Alrighty, so the M48 Patton, in my opinion, it's got to be one of the best tier 10s in the game. You probably won't be allowed to use this in Clan Wars, or, if you're trying to get into a Clan Wars clan, I wouldn't suggest going for this vehicle. However, for pubs, I absolutely think it's phenomenal. 390 Alpha with Russian medium gun handling, and the DPM that this thing has is just insane. I really, really do suggest getting it. As far as the grind goes, I mean, it's not very difficult. I mean, once you get past the M3 Lee, it's like M4, Easy 8, T20. Didn't play the Pershing. I free speed through that, but the M46 was awesome. So was the T20, and the Easy 8 I personally hated, but a lot of people like. So that's the majority of your grind. I mean, I should probably get the Pershing anyways, but I free XP through it because I hate tier 8. But that's my advice. I mean, I think this tank is definitely worth getting. Use free XP on modules if you can. I mean, the stock grinds on these things suck. However, the grind is worth it. The M48 Patton is definitely a phenomenal tier 10. And like I said, I thought it was great before the buff, and then they went and buffed it. So I highly recommend this vehicle. Don't get it if you want to get into Clan Wars. However, for a tier 10 that's great at like doing well in public games, this is absolutely it. So yeah, I hope this video is helpful. If you want to see more, be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I hope to see you around. Later guys, bye bye.